Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us back here at Luxxfolio's channel. We're, of course, sitting here once again with Dean, and it's been a while since we got to talk with you guys, so we want to get through a couple updates and a couple industry updates as well. But first off, Dean, how are you doing? Have you been working hard, man?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know how hard I've been working, but we've been making some really exciting progress with the company, and I don't have to work that hard because I've got a fantastic team that sort of more than supports me. So
Fair enough.
it's been a real pleasure.
I feel like you're being a little humble on that, but all right. Yeah, like I said, fair enough. And I mean, mining, once you get it running, it's usually good to go. So talking about mining, you guys got more miners. Your hash rate's up 144% since September 1st. So talking some really big numbers here. Can you kind of realize it for people, help them like explain to them what's actually going on?
Yeah, so I think again, the fallout from the shutdown of China continues to benefit us in ways that I don't know that we could have predicted off the hop. But I think that we're talking off camera that the United States now has been the beneficiary of a lot of that expertise, infrastructure, equipment, and specifically Lux. We've been able to work a number of deals where we've been able to take faster delivery of our machines. So that's kind of sped up our revenue. So we're ahead of where we originally thought we would be. And we think that trend is going to continue through July of next year. We're gonna be sort of continue to sort of be ahead of where we hoped that we would be. So yeah, that's been a real positive for us.
Yeah, the Western world is really picking up the mining. And, one of the things that I had heard while talking to people is that there's less haggling necessary now because the demand for the miners isn't so much just purely China anymore. So now that the demand's a little bit lower, you can get things at a better deal, get them quicker, which is a big part of it. Like you mentioned, things are just starting to streamline and move a lot faster.
I think one of the big things that and again, the group, our group at Luxxfolio is very thoughtful and methodical in the way we approach this business. And I think that, back when everybody was clamoring for miners, there was this sort of feeling out there that as long as you could procure mining equipment, you were going to be successful in this business. And I think that, while everybody was sort of focused on that, we were focused on making sure that we were in control of our own destiny when it comes to power. And I think that, again, I mean, we've talked about it in previous videos, but I think it is worth noting that our West Block acquisition continues to pay very significant dividends for us. We are, currently taking that site from 7 megawatts to 15 megawatts.
Wow.
We've got, a number of exciting projects in the pipeline that I hope that we'll be able to talk about in the future. But we've got, I think when we first started, and I think that the market was valuing us kind of as perhaps a bunch of finance guys that have been able to figure out how to, procure mining equipment.
Yeah.
And they were sort of waiting for a while to sort of see if we could actually turn those expertise in the ability to actually mine Bitcoin. And I think that over the past, since July, since we mined our first Bitcoin, we've proven in spades that we are not just a bunch of finance guys. We're also, we're also very adept at engineering and getting actually producing revenue with this operation. So, and the proof's in the pudding. I mean, the market is beginning to respond. I still feel that we're desperately undervalued relative to our peer group. However, we're starting to catch up a little bit, and it's nice to see.
Yeah, it's really nice to see the fruits of your labor. But I was looking into that too, and right now you're kind of seeing crypto as a whole pulling back up. I mean, the China FUD had kind of tapered things down a little bit, and that is whatever. We talked about that too. It was almost unnecessary, but where we're sitting now, you're starting to see it respond a little bit more. Things are starting to pick up a little more momentum, and the public side of the markets related to cryptocurrency aren't quite caught up with that yet. I think there's still a lot of room for growth in the public sector relating to cryptocurrency.
And I've got a lot of faith that they will. And here's why, Michael. the genesis of Luxxfolio comes from another company that I'm involved with, Cypress Hills Partners, which is a private credit fund. And increasingly, that has nothing to do with crypto. That is an old bricks and mortar fiat currency lender. I shouldn't say it's old bricks and mortar. It's innovative, and however, increasingly we're seeing the intersection between old fiat currency lending and cryptocurrency at every stop. You cannot sort of structure a deal right now without having that be some type of consideration. So for those people that are out there and they're kind of going, is this crypto thing for real? Is Bitcoin for real? Is Ethereum for real? Is this all? I can tell you that whether you believe in it or not, that the traditional lenders are increasingly having to deal with and utilize the tools that are being created in the crypto world. And those things are overlapping all the time. So I am super enthused by what I'm seeing, not just with Luxxfolio, but also in the, in sort of the traditional lending world, that these two worlds are becoming very, very linked, and they're using the tools that each brings to the table. And increasingly, those tools are going to be on the blockchain.
So, Dean, I think what you're describing really is DeFi, or decentralized finance. And while it does catch a little bit of attention, I think people don't give it the credit that it really deserves, because the amount of things between crypto bank accounts, payments going quickly, interest rates being significantly higher for people just saving their money, getting 18% interest rate a year is just kind of wonderful. And people haven't quite implemented it all the way yet. But hearkening to an earlier point you had made about you guys coming in with your history and people thinking like, oh, well, these guys aren't crypto miners. Yes, but in a lot of ways, the experience from the financial world and in business applies to it. And it showed how like you guys were focused on the power supply more than anything else. And that's really giving you guys an edge here, right? The two worlds are going to hybrid. They're going to go together. It's not, crypto's not going to just get rid of banks. It's not just going to get rid of loans. It's going to make them optimize. It's going to optimize things for everybody.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And it gives me so much hope. I think we've probably talked about this in the past. It gives me a lot of hope that we've got this type of technology that's coming on stream. That's it has the potential to solve a lot of challenges that we've got. I mean, I think that there's, I've never seen an environment where we've become as skeptical of fiat currency as we are at this juncture. I mean, it's just it's one of those times where you have people standing up and going, what are we doing? We have no plan to control this printing and spending and printing and spending, and it's beginning to impact. It's beginning to impact our workforce. It's beginning to impact all areas of society. And I think that when you start to focus on what's happening in the crypto world, and the DeFi world, you begin to see a lot of solutions. If you don't focus on that, all you see is mud. And I think that as time goes on, the rank and file, the more and more investors are going to tumble to the idea that, hey, this solves DeFi and cryptocurrency and whatnot, solves a lot of those ills. And there's without it, there's no other answers other than making a old broken system larger and more broken. So I think that it's very refreshing to kind of get to come to work every day in an environment where you're providing a solution.
Yeah, I think a large portion, like you said, about this old broken system, a lot of it is really inefficiencies that we've just kind of accepted as a natural course of things. I look at, for instance, the insurance industry. That's an industry that, like, unfortunately, at least where I am here in the United States, that's tied to you staying alive. And there's a lot of people behind the scenes making hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars off of it. But the system as a whole is very messed up. And with smart contract technology, you can really like make that so much more efficient, a lot less middlemen involved. People pull their money in an insurance fund, smart contracts pay it out, gets rid of a lot of the middlemen, and we can see if even the core principles of what we believe in with insurance even works then. But
that is an important point, because I think that when you're dealing with hundreds of thousands of people that make their living as middlemen in highly inefficient industries, I think you can sort of connect the dots and go, that's something that cannot be fixed through politics. There's too many lobbies, there's too much money at stake, there's too many powerful people that are going to be able to go, no, it can only be fixed through technology and the adoption of that technology. So, and again, I mean, you've taken us down another rabbit hole that is, insurance is a great example of something, when we talk about healthcare in the United States, probably the most efficient, most bogged down industry, that I can think of just off the top of my head, that is not, Washington can't fix it, your state government can't fix it. The only thing that fixes it is the adoption of technology and entrepreneurs. And that really becomes one of those things where you're providing, an invaluable service, a life-changing, a world-changing service. And that's just one little thing. And all of these things can happen simultaneously. You don't have to have an act of Congress to suddenly change the healthcare industry. You can just have entrepreneurs streamlining it through technology.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can't get excited about that. It gets me pretty revved up.
Yeah, I think you're right in that you can only shuffle around the same stuff so much and try to come to a different conclusion with things. So it's really through innovation and through growth that we can actually improve upon things that currently exist. I mean, that's just kind of the way it is. And obviously, like you said, there's a lot of red tape and inertia involved with this. Things don't want to change. They don't want to move. Listen, people are making money in those industries and everybody wants to make money. You know what I mean?
And you know what? And we're sitting here, two guys in North America who have never known what it's like not to be able to own property, or and so we should be the most blind to this from a global perspective. Of the 8 billion people, simply by virtue of the fact that we were born in this country and we're able to sort of function and operate in this system with a rule of law and all this, property rights and all those types of things. If we're excited about it and we have relatively no problems, you can imagine how rapidly this is going to be adopted around the world, where people wake up one day and go, oh my God, I can actually own property that's appreciating. I can prosper. I can become maybe not wealthy, but I can become functional from an economic perspective.
Yeah. I think that's
again, those are ideas that I think the people that are still talking about, oh, what's the carbon footprint of Bitcoin mining? I think they're kind of missing the point. Like, I've talked to some people from, that are writing articles about the carbon footprint of Bitcoin mining. And I'm like, if you're going to write in the story that it's the carbon footprint's bigger than Norway, you've completely missed the point. You need to go back and understand what kind of amazing opportunity that this technology is providing humanity. And then let's talk about the carbon footprint and see if that is even a story anymore. So
yeah, listen, I think what the problem is they were using that to invalidate the entire industry.
Yeah, like it's some sort of hobby, like it's kind of a neato thing that everybody's doing, that it serves no other purpose other than for a bunch of computer geeks to.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because the people in the industry aren't saying this is not a problem. They're saying we're working on this problem, but we're not going to stop the entire machine just so the problem goes away.
Yeah,
I mean, cars,
and at Lux, I can say that we're very proud of the only reason. I mean, if you look at the age of our team, none of us are looking at going, oh well, I'm not gonna, global warming is not going to impact me because I'll be dead before then. We're all young enough that we've got to live in this world, and it's pretty hard for me to get motivated and see my kids grow up when I'm in an industry that I feel is doing harm.
Yeah.
There's not one part of me that thinks that. I think that I'm a small cog in a very large wheel that's going to save the world.
Yeah, and I think a lot has to be said going back to the idea of, well, people want to make money. I think the thing is, really need something. I would say that, for instance, the insurance industry and a lot of other industries are in a spot that I would call ripe for disruption. They've been going on in virtually the same way for a long time. Now we have this huge leap in how we can help fix these problems, and eventually it will become unignorable. And so that's a big positive. And also, looking at it from the other perspective and the other things crypto does, crypto as a whole, blockchain industry, all of it, is it generates wealth too. While doing something positive, it generates wealth. And I don't know how long this will last, but you could retire off $200,000 of mining equipment now.
Yeah.
Versus the traditional financial industry, that's enough. That's enough now.
Yeah,
It's
no,
totally
I hadn't thought about that. That's very insightful. I thought this was my interview, and you just said the best thing.
Yeah, no, I mean it changes the game a little bit. And what people don't understand is it democratizes things a little bit more too, and how wealth can be distributed. Not to go full wealth distribution, but I mean it just provides more opportunity for everybody.
You said something important there, Michael, and I think you talked about wealth distribution, which works. Wealth redistribution doesn't. When you start talking about we're going to redistribute wealth, meaning that what we've done in this fiat system, that that suggests to me that we're going to have armed conflicts and all kinds of very, very uncomfortable situations ahead of us. If the new system can come in and be widely adopted, and there's wealth distribution where everybody has an opportunity to participate, and no one's taking anything away from you, that you begin to sort of see how that can work. And for those people who have not yet sort of done the deep dive into the possibilities and are still sort of choosing to fear cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and all these types of solutions that are out there, I really encourage, if you want to feel good about the world again, delve into this and embrace it and learn as much as you can and ask as many questions as you can, because you will feel better about the world moving forward. Because this is nobody that I respect in this business, and I know and I respect a lot of people in this business, is interested in making a fortune for themselves. They're interested in this idea that they're somehow riding in and helping to save the world and save society. And I think it's pretty inspiring. I mean, you're surrounded by people like that. That's worth getting to know what they're talking about a little bit.
And you had mentioned earlier about, like, in the Western world, we're blind to a lot of the real hardships people are facing. And I'm gonna go back and mention a project I had worked for, volunteered for, called Acoin, which was trying to get a cryptocurrency for all of Africa. And the whole point of it is a lot of the African countries had been given these very predatory loans, which would absolutely destroy their currency over time as they're growing and they're suffering from serious issues, can't pay them back. Their currency hyperinflates and all sorts of problems arise.
Yeah.
So I had worked with Africans from all these different parts of Africa, and they all had smartphones now. That's I think one of the big facilitators or mediums for a lot of the crypto related stuff. So you have smartphones, and now you have crypto bank accounts, and now your currency is stable. Like, we're getting there.
Which just that is not something that you or I have ever spent a second dealing with, right? Just having there's no way for me to hold wealth, and when you see those conflicts, as much as we like to talk about religion as the root of all it may be, I'm certainly not qualified to sort of to talk about that. However, you know what, when people are prospering and they're not hungry and they're able to sort of see a path forward for them and their children, they're peaceful. By and large, they're peaceful and they're happy, and they're able to sort of move on to other issues, going up that hierarchy of needs. And and this truly is the first thing that I've ever become aware of, in my posh lifestyle here in North America, that it has a chance to sort of, and if you think that those problems in Africa and Yemen and all those places are a long ways away, they're not. They're impacting what happens here in North America all the time and increasingly. And I think that we need to start to care about that, because it's coming home. It's coming home. We can't export all of the world's too small now. We can't export all of our ills and expect them not to come back at some point in time. So lots to be excited about, not just with what's going on at Lux and the way the stock's performing and all those types of things, but also, I try and be mindful that we are, a small part in a massive movement that's being adopted faster than any technology in human history. And it's really, I feel like it's a bit of a race against time, and I think that we're going to win.
Yeah, that's very well said. Once again, I'm not a theologist, but people often turn to the things that give them answers to the problems that hearken to them at the time.
Maybe they'll watch this video.
Yeah. Some might, but yeah, like, you provide people with opportunity, you provide them with peace, you provide them instead of predatorily pulling on them and so on, and you give people a chance. And sometimes
Absolutely.
people just need a chance, need a helping hand, need to understand that we don't hate them.
Let's give them a chance. Let's give them a chance.
But all right, Dean, listen, it's been great talking to you. I feel like we've covered a lot of different points here. So if anyone has any questions or any specific topics you'd like us to dive into related to the industry, by all means, give us a shout and we'll happily do it for you. But for now, stay tuned. We'll get you some more news over the wire as soon as it comes in. Dean, have a wonderful day.
Thanks.